Parliament has got down to the business of debating the Women Reservation Bill, and in the House today, it was Sonia Gandhi versus Smriti Irani, along with many other speakers. I'm Barkha Dutt. You're with the Mojo Story. Our focus today remains on that big story, a big moment for all Indian women. After 27 years since the inception of the Women's Quota Bill, the bill has been tabled on the floor of the House. But now questions are emerging. If the bill makes delimitation and a census a prerequisite, will we have no implementation of the quotas till possibly 2029 Lok Sabha polls? On the other hand, the sub-quota debate has returned to haunt this bill. In 2010, that demand actually derailed the Congress bill, but intriguingly, the Congress seemed to defend that very demand today. Mrs. Gandhi on the floor of the House making a very different intervention from the one she gave in an interview to me all those years ago. The question that women want to know is this. This is a historic moment, and it's great to see so many women and men from different walks of life seriously debating the issue of reservation and political representation for women. But for those of us who have waited already 27 years for this to happen, how much longer are our politicians going to make us wait for this to become a reality? Still, let's not take away from the historicity, the importance, the big value of this moment. This moment taking place, the last time Parliament got together to debate this bill, there were marshals in the House. I'm old enough to remember that moment. It is wonderful to see such an earnest, sincere, open, robust debate taking place in Parliament. Let's introduce our very special guest today, all women from diverse backgrounds. Brilliant women here, outspoken women, may have differences of ideology, but are all united in wanting to see greater political representation for women, and have also had to fight twice, if not 4 times as hard, to get to where they are. Welcoming first to the program is Dr. Shama Mohamed, Senior Leader of the Congress. Welcome to the program as always, Shama. Also joining us on the program is somebody who has done a lot of important research with the Netri Foundation, Kanksshi Agarwal. Do look up her studies if you want a serious understanding of what's going on with the representation debate. Also welcoming to the program today is Aditi Singh. She's a leader of the BJP based out of Raebareli. She's a legislator from there. Welcome back to the program, ma'am. Also joining us on the program today is Ritu Jaiswal. Ritu Jaiswal is with the Rashtriya Janata Dal. Had a very interesting transition from a city life to being a Mukhiya in Bihar. It's good to see you, Rituji. And also joining us on the program is Rajshri Deshpande. We all know her as the actor who, among other roles, played Neelam Krishnamurthy in Trial by Fire, but she's here today because she's also done a lot of work, continues to do a lot of grassroots work in the villages of Maharashtra. So it's good to see all of you. Let me actually start with you, Shama, because Sonia Gandhi was leading the charge today, but the quota debate seems to have returned to the Congress's interventions. What do you not think that while you accuse the government of delaying this bill, the quota debate will also further delay it? And before I get to the hard questions, just your moment, let's take a moment to also be euphoric and mark this moment. Shama.
Barkha, when I heard the news, I think it was day before, I was euphoric, excited, jumping off the bed, very, very happy. But then the next day, I hear the news that it's going to come in 2029 because of delimitation and the census. Now, that I felt was betrayal because, one, the census was supposed to be conducted in 2021. Now, the reason being, they say, is COVID, but then you had 2022, you had 2023, the census should have been conducted. The other thing is delimitation. Now, what do you mean by delimitation? Is increasing the number of constituencies. Why should we? Why can't we get it? Then what is reservation? So you're just going to increase the number of constituencies or number of assemblies and Lok Sabha seats and then give it to us. That is not a reservation. That is just giving us extra seats. Reservation is in the 543. Please give it to us. I do not want this delimitation thing. And when we got in the bill in 2008 and passed it in 2010, yes, we did not have this delimitation clause, and nothing to do with census happened also in 2011. So we just wanted the bill to pass at the earliest and give reservation for women. Now, for me, I feel at this point of time, Why bringing this delimitation? Why not just do it quickly? And also for the simple reason, a special session of parliament was called. In the special session, there has to be important, means you're going to pass an important bill. So when the all-party meet happened, nobody spoke about the Women's Reservation Bill. Nothing was discussed before. So normally on a special session of parliament, the agenda is told to the opposition parties. Nothing was told to us. And suddenly they spring up this women's reservation. Then of course we get excited, but they say, it might take now 29, maybe 35, it just goes on. It cannot be that, Barkha. It has to be done now.
Okay.
The Prime Minister can do it. We know that. So why doesn't he do it? Then what is the point of this reservation bill being brought in a special session?
I think you raise a fair question, and I have some questions for the Congress as well. I'll come to those maybe a little later. I want to bring in Aditi. Aditi, as somebody who is on the ground as well, just like Shama, just like all the women here, first, what this moment means to you, and second, the question from Dr. Shama Mohamed, why the delay? Will it again be pushed? Will again the ball be kicked down so far into the future? Women are cynical. Some of us are so old. We've been waiting for 27 years and watching this. Aditi Singh, go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
So firstly, as a public representative, before even I get into the party politics of it, or before I speak as someone who represents the Bharatiya Janata Party, as a public representative, I have to say, of course, like perhaps all other women, I'm absolutely thrilled about this bill, because kind of like yourself and kind of like all of us, I guess, especially in the public sphere, we've all been waiting for this moment for a very, very long time. And because I work at the grassroots level, being an MLA, most of our work has to do with panchayats and panchayati raj. And there has already been a reservation. There is already a reservation in existence when it comes to our panchayati vyavastha. I see how empowering it is for women. I myself, Barkha, when it comes to any election that I have a say in, be it Nagar Palika, or be it panchayati elections, be it pradhans, be it BDCs, be it block pramukhs, I truly always, and I think I kind of almost like go out of my way to project mahila pratyashis and ensure that women get their say. I try to go for prachar as much as I can for these grassroots level elections, especially when there are women contenders, and I try to, if I'm ever asked, even at the party level, I do try to give names of, and I do try to push the agenda of having as many female mahila public representatives, especially in my own constituency, as much as I can. So personally, I think it's brilliant. Now, to come back to the question of why wait for delimitation, XYZ, I cannot necessarily comment on the nitty-gritties of the bureaucratic processes. But having said that, where we waited such a long time, I think, and with all due respect to Shama, who also happens to be a dear friend, but with all due respect, I think it's rich coming from the Congress, who did not even have the political willpower to pass it. I think in 2010, I remember that there was that interview with Mrs. Sonia Gandhi, who happens to be my member of parliament from Raebareli, where she said that, well, this is something that I really want to do, but जो हमारे गठबंधन की सरकार है और जो हमारे सहयोगी दल हैं, वो तैयार नहीं हो रहे हैं. So at least our leadership has had the political willpower to bring it into debate, to pass something like this in cabinet, which I think is also coming a very long way. Now for the Congressis to sit there and be like, we cannot wait, boss, you waited enough, you made everyone wait enough. It is the sheer political willpower of our Honorable Prime Minister and the cabinet that has made it happen. And I think we should applaud that.
And it's interesting, Aditi, that you refer to that interview of Mrs. Gandhi, which was actually with me, a much younger me is certainly much younger Sonia Gandhi. Now, Shama, I do want one more comment from you, and I want to play out that clip. At that time, just for people who are too young to remember, it was the sub-quota debate that derailed the bill. Marshals were in the house. The bill was physically snatched by some of the regional parties at that time. And I asked Sonia Gandhi, what about the criticism from these parties that there's no sub-quota for OBC women and for Muslim women? What she said then and what she said today were very, very different. So I'm curious to know if the Congress has shifted its position. But listen to this clip first, and then I'll come to you, Dr. Shama Mohamed.
There are those who are asking about a minority quota and OBC quota. Do you feel the bill needs relooking, or is this bill in its final shape?
I mean, to those who ask such questions, I would say, who prevents you from giving to Muslim women, to OBC women, a seat in the reserve 33%. Who's going to prevent them from doing it? Right?
भारतीय राष्ट्रीय कांग्रेस की मांग है कि यह बिल फौरन अमल में लाया जाए, लेकिन इसके साथ ही कास्ट सेंसस कराकर शेड्यूल ट्राइब, OBCs की महिलाओं के आरक्षण की व्यवस्था की भी जाए।
Now, Dr. Shama, Mohamed, you saw those two different statements. A person, a party is allowed to change their mind, but then there should be an acknowledgement that there has been a shift in position. This bill does provide for 1/3 of already reserved scheduled caste and scheduled tribe seats to be reserved for women from that community, but not for an OBC sub-quota. We all remember, some of us remember, that was the very issue that caused the bill to never go forth beyond the Rajya Sabha into the Lok Sabha during the Congress time. Today, the Congress is talking about this. You've accused the government of a delay. You heard what Aditi Singh said. Aren't you also walking into that same delayed process by bringing in a sub-quota debate into it, Shama?
Okay, so I'm going to answer that very clearly. First, I want to thank Aditi for talking about Panchayati Raj, how they have reservations in Panchayati Raj. And I'm very proud to say Rajiv Gandhi introduced the bill in 1989 and it was passed in 1993 during Prime Minister Narasimha Rao's time. Again, the Congress government. We're very insistent that we get 33%. And I must tell you, in Kerala, in the corporation election and Panchayat elections, it's 50%, not 33% over there. The Congress government got it in. Number two, she mentioned that there was no political will. Aditi, because there was political will, we were able to pass it in the Rajya Sabha. And like you mentioned, in the Lok Sabha, we could not pass it. One, even the BJP was against the sub-quota. And there were other parties, not just, there were two parties which wanted sub-quotas and others which did not want.
The Samajwadi Party and the RJD and the JDU wanted the sub-quota.
Yeah, and
the BJP and the Congress were on the same side of the debate at that time. Let me remind you of that. Yeah,
let me finish. So what has happened is that when it came to now, the times have changed. Okay, 23 years. What is the condition of minorities? What is the condition of Adivasis? What is the condition of Dalits? Much worse than what it was. You know what is happening in this country. We have seen in Madhya Pradesh. We have seen what's happening in Nuh, what is happening in Manipur between two tribes. So the condition of these people, their representation, the Muslim representation has gone to 1% in Lok Sabha from 7%. So what I'm trying to say is there's a lot of change, one. And she mentioned political will. They came to power in 2014. It was in their manifesto. It was in their manifesto in 2019. They had brute majority in the Lok Sabha. And if the bill went in the same way it was, it also will not lapse. So they could have passed, they have passed many bills like Article 370, Triple Talaq, the Farmer Ordinance Bill. You know what they wanted to do, they do it. They via ordinance. So they could have done it in 2015.
Okay.
And one other thing, 2015, Mrs. Sonia Gandhi wrote a letter to pass the women's reservation. 2017, she wrote. 2018, Rahul ji wrote a letter to pass the women's reservation bill. We are for it and we will always be. When times change, yes, we might have to include quotas.
So I'll tell you from my perch, before this becomes a Congress BJP battle, I do want to get the others in, but from my perch, I'm beginning to feel that we're not going to see this happen anytime soon. And I don't want to throw cold water over this. I don't want to take away from the moment. The moment is big. The moment is historic. Let's acknowledge the moment. Let's acknowledge that the Congress, for whatever reason, wasn't able to get it into the Lok Sabha. You had 4 years after 2010, Shama, with respect. Manmohan Singh was ready to lose his government over the nuclear deal with the Americans. You will remember that. He said, I will resign. I will let the government fall. For the nuclear deal, he took that chance. For the women's bill, he could have taken that chance. He didn't. So credit where it's due. However, hearing both parties today, I feel like we're not going to see this anytime soon. That is my feeling. Before I get Kanksshi and Ritu to come in, Rajshri, you're not in politics, but you work on the grassroots. Do you feel worried that this moment, the celebration is going to go away far too soon? Hard politics is back. Rajshri Deshpande.
Hi everyone. So Barkha, I'm from Marathwada villages. I've spent my entire childhood in villages, in in the very tribal rural villages. So that's where I've been working from past 10 years now. Honestly, I myself have faced a lot of atrocities on ground, and being a three daughter, and how my mother raised all of us, it was a huge challenge. So I have seen that as a woman, as a child, girl child, I've already seen that. So I honestly, I definitely want this to happen, and I wish this had happened like many, many years back. But finally, it's happening. It's great. But how are we going to do that if we have not empowered our women on ground? My villages, I work currently. I'm working for 30 drought-prone villages, tribal villages. My girls are still getting married at 13-year-old. So many kids, especially who comes from Pardi, Lamani, Kolati communities, and so many other tribal community, SC, ST community caste, and even Kinna, the LGBTQI space. We don't we don't have done anything for them. They are still suffering on ground. And there are so many of, like, I built 3 schools, but every day I have to make sure all the girls are going to the school, because they come from they are sugar cutting laborers children. They are Pardi communities children, where they go for hunting. These sugar cutting laborers children, they take them for work, and I have to keep calling them, asking them about, "Arey, school bana diya hai maine, abhi to school aa jao." Kolati community girls, they everything, like, whenever a girl child born in that, they
So
go for
Rajshri, sorry I'm interrupting you, but for that reality,
yeah,
that harsh reality, what does this
yeah.
debate mean? What does this debate mean?
I feel this whole thing is absolutely fine. We need that. We definitely need more, not just 33%. We need more, but we need more education on ground. We need more educated women to be on power. We have to put them in such a way where they climb the thing. Of course, Panchayat Raj is there, but there are so many women who are sarpanch, who are in a position, but who's running the show? The men running the show, the children running the show, and it's the reality in which I have been seeing, and I'm
And
trying
that's
to
why
change it. But
and that's why the phrase sarpanch pati was born. But even so, I think all of us would agree that even if they're proxy entries initially, women do develop a taste for power, for ambition, for their own careers. And sorry, Rajshri, you want to say something? I want to just bring in the others, and then I'll come back to you. Ritu
yeah,
and
so
Kanksshi haven't spoken. Yes,
I,
yes.
I know that's the only hope I always see, that where my mother empowered me to be in this position, and when I go back to those villages, I also have to tell the same women that, if me being a woman standing here and fighting with everything, then you can also. So that's the hope,
Okay.
and that's what. Yeah.
Before I sort of come back to the hard politics, I did mention the Congress in the context of the quota debate, but there are also women leaders from the BJP, not too many, but some, Uma Bharti among them, who, like then, have now said, we want a quota within a quota. Will the quota within a quota derail this again? There are, of course, two views. Some don't see it as derailment, some see it as a legitimate demand. Before I come to Ritu ji, I want to play out Uma Bharti's comment. Listen.
इसमें जवाब सरकार की तरफ से आएगा, मेरी तरफ से नहीं। मेरा एक ही कहना है कि ये जब भी आवे, इसमें ST, SC और OBC महिलाओं का आरक्षण का प्रोविजन होना 50%, 33% को अगर आप 100 मान लें तो उसमें 50 सीटें ST, SC और OBC की होना।
Ritu ji, you have worked as a Mukhiya. You have gone from an urban life to a village life to a rural life. Today you were with the RJD. How do you see this debate? ये जब मांग की जाती है कि OBC का एक सब कोटा आए, तो हम पहले देख चुके हैं कि this very issue has derailed the debate. मैं तो अपनी आंखों से देख चुकी हूँ कि मार्शल्स बुलाए गए हाउस के अंदर। जिस तरह से अभी कामली ये डिबेट हो रही है, बहुत कुछ बदला है तब से। वो तब नहीं थी। We had leaders snatching the bill actually from the law minister's hand. मुझे ये भी याद है। ऋतु जी, आप क्या कहेंगे?
मैं ये कहना चाहती हूँ कि जो न्याय मिले तो पूरा मिले, आधे न्याय का क्या करना है। और दूसरी बात ये कि 1996 देवेगौड़ा जी के समय से लेकर आज तक लगभग 27 साल हो गए इस मांग को करते हुए, और कहते हैं देर लगी आने में, उनको शुक्र है फिर भी आए। तो इसका मैं स्वागत करती हूँ। ये कदम जो भी है महिला रिजर्वेशन के लिए, वो स्वागत योग्य है, इसमें तो कोई डाउट ही नहीं है। लेकिन जो चीजें आ रही है उसके अंदर, वो क्या है जिस पर की ऑब्जेक्शंस है और जिसका कि क्लियर होना बहुत जरूरी है। रिजर्वेशन की अगर हम बात करें,
पर रितु जी, इसी सब में ये वही बहस है जो 15 साल पहले, 13 साल पहले हुई थी, ये वही बहस 13 साल बाद हो रही है।
वही बहस हो रही है, तो वही बात है ना कि जो न्याय मिले तो पूरा मिले। ओबीसी रिजर्वेशन की बात अगर हम करें, पहले हम एससी रिजर्वेशन की बात करते हैं, एसटी रिजर्वेशन की बात करते हैं। एससी में 15% का रिजर्वेशन है, एसटी में 7.5% का रिजर्वेशन है। अभी जो बिल आया उसके हिसाब से उन्हें अगर 1/3 का रिजर्वेशन मिलता है तो एससी महिलाओं को भी 1/3 का प्रेफरेंस मिलेगा, रिजर्वेशन में एसटी महिलाओं को भी मिलेगा। लेकिन मैं एक चीज पूछना चाहती हूँ कि जब संविधान की रचना हुई, लिखी गई, उसमें यह माना गया कि कुछ जो जातियां हैं वो दौर में पीछे हैं, तो उन्हें ऊपर लाने के लिए रिजर्वेशन का प्रावधान दिया गया। ठीक है, बहुत अच्छी बात है, वो दिया गया और उनको उससे वो आगे आए भी। लेकिन फिर अदर बैकवर्ड कास्ट की भी बात हुई कि वो भी पिछड़ी हुई है, उसके हिसाब से उन्हें कॉलेज स्कूल में एडमिशंस में, सरकारी नौकरी के एडमिशंस में भी रिजर्वेशन दिए गए। तो भाई ओबीसी को अगर आप मान रहे हैं, जो अदर पिछड़ा कास्ट है उसको आप मान रहे हैं कि वो पिछड़े हुए हैं, उसको आप स्कूल और कॉलेज की पढ़ाई में रिजर्वेशन दे रहे हैं, उन्हें आप सरकारी नौकरी में रिजर्वेशन दे रहे हैं, तो ऐसी क्या नफरत है कि आप उन्हें राजनीति में रिजर्वेशन नहीं दे सकते? राजनीति में आप उन्हें आगे आते हुए क्यों नहीं देखना चाहते? ऐसी क्या प्रॉब्लम है? आप मान रहे हैं एक तरफ से कि उनको रिजर्वेशन की जरूरत थी, आपने उन्हें सरकारी नौकरी में दिया, एडमिशंस में दिया रिजर्वेशन, लेकिन आप पॉलिटिकली ओबीसी को क्यों नहीं, महिलाओं को आगे बढ़ते देखना चाहते हैं?
जी,
अगर उन्हें 27% का रिजर्वेशन मिल गया होता तो आज जो बिल पास हुआ उसमें 1/3 अगर मिला होता तो आज कम से कम 50 सीटें
मैं तो यही कहना चाह रही थी कि नफरत किसी की किसी से भी नहीं है, इस कार्यक्रम में तो बिल्कुल ही नहीं है। कांक्षी, बट वेरी क्विकली, जब मैंने सोनिया गांधी से ये सवाल किया, एंड दैट क्लिप यू सॉ, she said, who stops any party? She said in 2010, who stops any party from giving a percentage of those seats to Muslim women, to OBCs? Today, the Congress is taking a very, very different position. To me, it seems like, I'm so sorry, I'm so cynical, I've seen politics for so long, this is not going to happen in a hurry because of one or the other party. Does it seem like that to you, Kanksshi?
I will first enjoy the euphoria and say that when we heard the news, Netri Foundation put out, that we can't keep calm and the Women Reservation Bill is coming.
Yes.
And the next day, it was asterisks, conditions apply. We always give things to women with conditions apply, right? There is an if and a but. Also, when we see that there is another, we always say कि जब भविष्य की बात करो तो पुराने अच्छे lessons लेने चाहिए. When you talk of the future, look at the beautiful lessons and the right lessons. We look at arguments being made that we have waited for so long, so a few more years again. The idea is that we can promulgate this bill today, and the way we can do it is by not going into this idea that, horizontal reservation, etc. But at the same time, I'm going to tell you that what Sonia Gandhi said about parties wanting to give tickets to Muslims and OBC women. These are the same parties who have not given tickets to women for the longest time, more than 8 to 9 to 10%. So they have used the same arguments that any party who wants to give tickets to women should give tickets to women who has stopped them. So it's an argument.
But Kanksshi, the opposition also can't make both arguments, right? The opposition can say to the government, I just want to say this, the opposition can say to the government, pass the bill now, and I would agree with that. But the opposition can't simultaneously say, पहले caste census कीजिए. एक तरफ आप कह रहे हैं pass it immediately, दूसरी तरफ आप कह रहे हैं कि पहले caste census कीजिए. You can't make both points, can you? And I want to take that back to our politicians, but quickly I want your response on that, Kanksshi.
So I agree with the fact that if there is a change in the stance, it has to be communicated, and it has to be communicated from the entire party stance that this is what we said, this is what we believe in today. However, about the OBC, and I see the fact that we are 41% of the population. What we also see, and in Gujarat, this happened recently after the Supreme Court said that there should be a caste census. They asked the 10% reserved OBC seats to be reserved, unreserved to general seats, for which, where Bharatiya Janata Party is the government and the leading government, has set up a panel to reconsider this, to have a local, to manage the local follow.
Yeah.
coming back, exactly, if you're going to ask for a, and I don't think this will go in a limbo because of the horizontal reservation demand, it is going to go in the limbo because of the delimitation. And my question really is to the government, that why nobody is trying to explain in the parliament. And I heard both Nishikant Dubey and Smriti Irani in the parliament today trying to explain the Article 82, but not saying that what is stopping to pass it today.
According to me, both demands, the opposition's and the government's demand for delimitation, the opposition's demand for further stratification along caste is going to delay this bill. I could be wrong and I stand to be corrected. Let me just come around to Aditi and Shama on this, but also the politics will continue. Let's also talk a little bit about your personal journeys, how hard it's been to be a woman in politics. I think we overlook that when we reduce every debate to opposition versus government. Aditi, go ahead.
So firstly, I want to start this by pointing out, sorry, I'm in my village, so the light.
I know, and the Bijli has gone, but it's back. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
When I first became an MLA in 2017, in my own Vidhan Sabha, there were 40 women. And this time in 2022, there are 47 women. So just a very positive point to make, that also just in general, without reservation as it is, that women in my particular house that I can talk about, the assembly that I get to represent in, the number of women contenders, winners, is certainly increasing, which is a very, very positive upward trend that I've been noticing in Uttar Pradesh for the last many elections that I've seen. Personally, for me, I mean, as like with all other August women in this panel, it's of course been tough. It's been difficult. To, especially in my neck of the woods, doing politics in eastern Uttar Pradesh, certainly not a very easy playground for women. But having said that, like I said, because the Panchayati actually Vyavastha helped me a lot, is because I have a lot of female BDCs and Pradhans, and it just makes communication a lot easier. And I just want to point out a really fun fact about my own district. So they call my district a pink district, is because my honorable member of parliament is a woman. I'm the MLA and I'm a woman. My DM is a woman. My ADM, my SDM, most of the bureaucracy here in Raebareli is, so it's very much like a woman-led, my Jila Panchayat Adhyaksh is a woman, my block pramukh is a woman. So it's very much a woman-led constituency, Raebareli, at least as far as...
that's great. That's great to hear. And my question, queuing from that, is going to be to Shama. That, I remember old photographs. I don't know, some of you were around in politics then, some of you were much young, you're all much younger than me. The left and the right, women from the left and the right came together. Sushma Swaraj and Brinda Karat, who hadn't agreed on a single thing, were able to join hands, join forces on this issue. Dr. Shama Mohamed, why can't we see that kind of camaraderie today as we could see maybe 13 years ago when the bill passed in the Rajya Sabha? This was a moment that should transcend electoral politics. Why are we seeing it back to this kind of political division, at least among women? Women should take charge and say, हमें नहीं सुनना, हम आज पार्टी के तौर पे नहीं बोलेंगे, हम आज औरत होते हुए बोलेंगे, ये हमारी राय है. Dr. Shama?
You see, that has changed. Anyway, before I come to that, my journey would be much more tougher than Aditi's journey, because I do not come from a political family. I'm a dentist by profession. And I come from a state, even though she's from UP and it's supposed to be patriarchal, but I come from a state where it is matriarchal in the north, Kerala, where we have 96% literacy and more women, but in politics, it's very patriarchal. You have never heard of a woman chief minister from Kerala. You will never, you have not even heard from a Congress leader as such, like you're a Jayanti Natarajan, or for that matter, Renuka Chaudhary or Margaret Alpha from the other southern states. You have Rajni Patil, Meera Kumar. So Kerala has been a very patriarchal. So it is very difficult from a woman, I feel, to get tickets if you're not from a family. It's much tougher. We need to struggle much more. And a woman who's got children has to divide her time between the children and her commitment to a political party. So it's really tough. And I believe however sincere or however hard you work, it takes time, and you need to really you have to work I don't think 50, but 100 times harder than the West.
And Shama, my producers just pulled up a figure. The current Kerala Assembly has only 9 women. That's 6.4% of the total
Yeah,
MAs.
that's what I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah,
we have from 16 one Lok Sabha member of Parliament. 16 seats are what we fought. 20 seats are there in Lok Sabha. We have just one. That's my party in Kerala. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So, having said that, I forgot your question.
No, I was just saying that there's something powerful about women being able to transcend electoral politics. We've seen that before.
So that I just wanted to tell you. Yeah, I got it. So what has happened is, I mean, Aditi is a lovely person, but after 2014, there is animosity. I mean, nobody talks to each other before, even between, you remember how Atal Bihari Vajpayee was sent abroad by Rajiv ji. There was a camaraderie between, I mean, I remember Vajpayee ji walking into parliament and saw the photograph of Pandit Nehru removed. He said, why is it removed? I want it back there. So I always say, vichardhara alag hai, lekin hum aapas mein shatru nahi hai. But now what has happened after 2014 is, if you need to please the leader, we don't talk to each other, we need to praise one person. And I just wish that we go back to the old days where we talk to each other. We might have different ideologies, but we have a camaraderie. We are, at the end of the day, we are all Indians. And if we don't get together, how do we pass policies? We need to pass a lot of bills.
I think one of the things that has made me feel a little better about things is that Parliament's actually functioning in a pretty convivial, cordial way in the last 2 days. We've even seen the Prime Minister and Mrs. Gandhi exchange smiles on the floor of the House. There was that lovely photograph. I think we have it somewhere. But these personal journeys, and I, more than the politics, I actually want to end with all of your personal journeys. So let me actually come to Rajshri Deshpande. What's been the toughest for you? You're in the film industry and in grassroots activism. What's the toughest thing about being a woman, Rajshri, in the public space?
It is tough. It is very, very tough. But, I just want to tell, as a citizen of this place, and I love my space, I just want a peaceful, happy life. I just want, my villages flourish. I just want my women get educated. Every other child, every other community have that space in this country. There are so many of them. They don't even they don't have space in this. Their name is not registered at all. So there are people who live in this area. So I just feel, of course, as a woman, I do go through tons of issues in the film industry also, and on ground. But I always feel that, we have to now work on how we can all solve these things together. Whatever has happened, we cannot just go back to it. I just feel now, what can be done now? I know that, I always feel that when I saw the bill and everything, I was like, shit, yaar, pehle agar aaya hota to kitna acha hota. Abhi tak jo problems ho rahe hain aur main dekh rahi hu gaon mein. You won't believe it, Barkha. Just 3 days back, I was holding a 10-year-old girl hand who goes for bricklaying work. I'll tell you, her hands was like, pure itne khurtere haath the uske. Sugar cutting laborers, children, yaar, 8-year-old kids. I was, I don't know if you've seen a video. I was taking promises from those kids. जो 6 साल के बच्चे हैं मेरे गांव के, वो आज भी sugar cutting जाते हैं. So what am I going to do with those policy which are written in a book?
आपने एक बात कही राजश्री की, पहले आता तो शायद और औरतें होती तो हमारी पॉलिटिक्स अलग होती, एंड दैट इज द बिलीफ. तो रितु जी, मैं आपसे यही पूछना चाहती हूँ कि औरतों को, सॉरी, या राजश्री, वांट टू ऐड अ सेंटेंस? Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say that, there are so many things which is already there in the policy, but it's not implemented on ground. तो ये जो bridge है, बहुत सारे, मतलब I really understand कि all the parties are saying कि हमने ये किया है, हमने वो किया, हमने वो किया, हमने वो किया है. Everyone has done some other things which is brilliant, some other things which is still we are facing issues with. But on ground we still face issues which is with caste, creed and religion and everything.
तो मैं
क्या करूँ
मैं यही पूछना चाह रही हूँ रितु जी से कि अगर हम औरतों को स्ट्रैटिफाई करते रहे, मैं ये नहीं डिनाई करती कि जेंडर इज नॉट इम्पैक्टेड बाय क्लास, बाय कास्ट, बाय रिलीजन. मैं मानती हूँ, मैं इस बात को स्वीकार करती हूँ, लेकिन एक उम्मीद रखती हूँ कि एक बड़ी कंस्टिट्यूएंसी औरतों की होगी being able to absorb all of these divisions. और मुझे लगता है कि फिर औरतें बढ़ जाएंगी, या पार्टीज के बीच में बढ़ जाएंगी, या राजनीति की वजह से बढ़ जाएंगी, या जात पे बढ़ जाएंगी, या धर्म पे बढ़ जाएंगी, और हम वही के वही रह जाएंगी। ऋतु जी,
के बावजूद उन्हें उनका अधिकार मिलता है तो दिक्कत क्या? आज अगर महिलाएं वार्ड से लेकर के मुखिया से लेकर के जिला स्तर के चुनाव में जीत कर आती हैं और वहां उन्होंने अपना प्रतिनिधित्व को प्रूव किया है, ईमानदारी से काम किया है, एक अच्छी लीडरशिप का एग्जाम्पल बनी है, लेकिन उनके आगे के रास्ते ब्लॉक हो गए, तो क्या वो पंचायती राज इंस्टीट्यूशन से चुन करके सफलतापूर्वक अपनी लीडरशिप की क्वालिटी को दिखाने के बाद उनके दरवाजे हमेशा बंद कर देने के लिए है? क्या उन्हें आगे आने का अधिकार नहीं है कि वो आगे के पार्लियामेंट के चुनाव तक पहुंचे, वो विधानसभा के चुनाव तक पहुंचे? उनके लिए अगर रिजर्वेशन दिया जाता है तो अगर उसमें सब कुछ को, इवन हम तो क्या, अगर इसी बात पे कास्ट में ना बांटे, रिलीजन में ना बांटे, किसी भी चीज में हम अगर ना बांटे, तो 33% का रिजर्वेशन अगर हम दे रहे हैं, 1/3 का टोटल रिजर्वेशन हम दे रहे हैं, तो कुछ तो क्राइटेरिया रखेंगे ना। या पिछड़ों को आप अग्रों से गिराते हैं, कभी भी एक कमजोर को बहुत मजबूत से लड़ाया जाता है क्या? ये कहाँ से एथिक अलाउ करेगा इस चीज के लिए कि एक कोई बहुत कमजोर है उसके सामने बहुत मजबूत रख दो? कई लोग कहते हैं कि ठीक है, कोई भी पार्टी स्वतंत्र है, टिकट देने के लिए दे दे जिसको देना है, तो फिर लड़ाई किससे होगी? एक पिछड़े की लड़ाई एक अग्र से, एक कमजोर की लड़ाई एक मजबूत से, तो लड़ाई का रिजल्ट तो पहले ही डिक्लेयर हो जाएगा। इसलिए बहुत जरूरी है कि लड़ाई वो समानता की हो, समानता का मिले। तो जैसे SC ST को रिजर्वेशन मिला, OBC के 27% रिजर्वेशन अगर मिलता है और उसके अंदर महिलाओं को रिजर्वेशन मिलता है, और कमजोर वर्ग की महिलाएं भी अगर बराबरी में आकर के लड़ती है, प्रूफ करती है, तो दिक्कत क्या है?
तो मुझे तो सिर्फ यही दिक्कत है कि मुझे ऐसा दिखता है कि ये बिल बहुत साल शायद लटके रहे। कम से कम अगर बीजेपी ये तान ले कि भाई हम अपने बलबूते पे विदाउट द ऑपोजिशन, कांक्षी, very quick word from you. If the BJP wants to, I think that point was made by Shama, just like they have passed other legislations, they can pass this immediately or in 2026, because the law caps the next round of delimitation to 2026. If there's one thing, Kanksshi, today you'd be urging the government to do, before I give quick last words to Shama and Aditi, what would that be?
I will definitely take that 1 second to spotlight on the fact that there is a difference between readjustment versus population-based delimitation. In 2013, and I'm just using this platform, Barkha, today to talk about the fact in 2013, there was a readjustment bill on the SC/STs in the parliamentary and the assembly constituencies. It was also passed in the Rajya Sabha. The bill was later withdrawn. I think we have some answers there. Second, exactly the political will right now with the numbers, they do not even need the opposition and the India bloc to support it. They can pass it on their own. Second, there is a culture in the current parliament as we see it, that they don't take amendments. It is a very it's a resolution that they can take the amendment to include OBC in it. One. Second, they should explain what constitutionally is stopping the government to pass this bill by delinking it from delimitation. One more second, Barkha, I will take, because today on the parliament floor it was said that Supreme Court will strike it down agar aapne abhi census karke isko kar diya to. Actually, the delimitation commission has such a high authority in the constitution that it cannot be questioned by any court in the country. So this was a misleading statement made on the parliament today. What we really need to do, and I'll also bring in the fact that when we run Netri Foundation, we train women for political ecosystem, right? The demand has been so far that we want to get trained and become even political workers. We want to be inducted into parties. Parties have not given that space within parties. Now we're also talking about the fact that when women are promising to be contesting in this, and there are 1,000+ Netri alums, 6 of them have contested election from panchayat to MLA to corporator level. When they do contest these elections and when they see that unka kuch bhi nahi hua rajniti mein, parties do not even create space for them to be accommodated. The fact that this has to be a longer fight, it cannot be lip service, and there has to be more political will.
Okay, I have absolutely 2 minutes left, so I'll start with Aditi, and I'll give the last word to Shama. Aditi, let me ask a personal question. I think the politics have been discussed hard enough. What has been the toughest thing for you being a woman in politics?
So this is kind of personal, but the Congress party believe me, Barkha, you've known me a long time. I'm not someone to, wash my dirty linen in public. When I changed parties from the Congress party to the Bharatiya Janata Party, for my own political reasons, they cut my husband's ticket solely based on the fact that I joined another political party. And they promised him a ticket only if he would badmouth me in public. So there's so much for your Congress leadership. For all their claims, I'm a personal example, an absolute victim of being a woman and having a mind of my own and having the guts to leave the Congress party when I did, and at the cost of my family life.
And the point you raise, the Congress and the BJP will, of course, slug it out. But the point you raise is important. The individual recognition of a woman separate from her spouse, yes. where yes. the ambitions and the ideologies and the beliefs may not coincide and certainly do not have to coincide. I think that's a very, the larger point that comes from your statement is important. Dr. Shama Mohamed, you may want to react, you may not want to react to Aditi, because my question was going to be the same to you. What has been the toughest for you to be a woman in politics?
Well, before I say that, I also want to tell Aditi is that our women wrestlers who are world famous had to protest 6 months to get justice. And that man who did it is sitting in parliament when they were protesting the day the new parliament was inaugurated. I won't forget it. The world will not forget it.
Can I allow Aditi? Can I allow Aditi a brief interjection, and then I'll give Shama the last word on being a tough. What's the toughest about being a woman in politics? Aditi, you wanted to come in?
Yeah, sorry. All I was saying is that I'm not even getting into the whole issue of Brijbhushan Singh Ji and our wrestlers. I was only talking about a personal anecdote which destroyed my personal life. So this is not. I'm not looking for a comeback, or I'm not even trying to necessarily play the blame game. You asked me what the toughest part was. That's what I told you. And I would actually appreciate no further commentary on my personal life. This is just something that I'm putting out there.
Absolutely. And I can't imagine it's easy to share it. So thank you for sharing that, Aditi. Dr. Shama Mohamed, my question to you.
Toughest was when I became a spokesperson, I lived in Pune, and at those days there was no Zoom, there was no Skype. One has to be in Delhi. My children, one was 4, one was 5, the other one was 7. Every month for 10 days, alternate week, I would be in Delhi, and another week I would 2 days be in Bombay. So I would be away from my children at that point of time more than 15 days, and it was not easy. And then I would also go to Kerala to nurture the constituency. So that has been tough. And on top of that, we always have to be in a certain subservient way to the men in Kerala, and you can't put your shoulder out. You have to always be. They like women who are, okay, ji. So I'm brought up by a very strong mother, a strong grandmother, both maternal and paternal. So I come from a family of strong women. So nobody told us to be like this. We were all told to fight for your rights, to stand on your own feet. That is how I was brought up. So that is the difference I see in politics. As a dentist, I could always help. There was nothing like that. There was no patriarchy or anything. Yeah. And we could be ourselves. You can climb the ladder of success. You do your work and you go up,
I just want to thank you also for sharing that. And I wanted to say, listening to both of you, I think what I want to underline is the universalism of these struggles. It doesn't matter which party you're in, you're going to be judged. You're going to have to do double the work of your male partners. There's still no perfect equality at home, even in progressive households. You're going to have to be apologizing for your ambition and your power. And women should learn to wear power more enjoyably. We should enjoy power. I'm sorry, I'm seeing lots of hands go up, but I have to say thank you. I'm really sorry, I'm really out of time. So next time, thank you very much, ladies. Aditi, Shama, to Kanksshi, to Ritu, and to Rajshri. It's been a pleasure. It's been a lovely conversation, despite some, I would hope, minor disagreements. And fingers crossed for this to be a reality sooner rather than later. Thank you, and to our audience for watching. Take care and see you soon. It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.